So I'm Andrey Mozuliov. I'm working for Domtar, or for Paper Excellence, which was rebranded a couple of weeks ago to Domtar for actually over 9 years. And I started with the company which was acquired by Paper Excellence back in 2018. So I was acquired together with the company and continue working with them through recent acquisitions of Domtar and Resolute. So overall 9 years, and I have been working in financial planning and analysis majority of my life. It's my favorite field. Although in June this year, we created the finance transformation function in Domtar, and I took the position of director of finance transformation.
All right. So yeah, what is finance transformation? How would you define it?
I should say that finance transformation, first of all, is a relatively new field. It exists probably 3 years, and everybody who is in the field still shaping the function and definition of it. So let me put it this way. You see all the changes in the world these days. Economics got deeper in a crisis. You got hurricanes worse. You got the war in Europe, another one in Middle East, and generative AI just raised another round of conversation regarding the technology being a huge disruptor for the business. Finance transformation needs to capture all these trends and make changes to finance organization to be sure the finance organization can effectively respond to all these challenges which world presents to us. Given that we have the combination of internal factors and external factors to that job, it's really difficult to say that you need that type of skills. It's really, well, you see that finance transformation really makes finance organization agile. So the finance transformation team itself needs to be agile as well. I stepped in finance transformation this year because I do believe that I can bring most value given my skills, my experience, my courage at that point of the time for this company. Not necessarily it will be in a couple of years. And finance transformation team probably needs to also be agile and welcome other participants as well. For now, if we are talking about, sorry, it's probably a longer.
No, this is great. This is great. Keep going.
But if we are talking about the current situation, Accenture, for example, is so interested in changing, in really looking to the changes in the world, that they even invented and calculate the pulse of change index. And how they do that, they interview 4,300 executives in 20 countries, 19 industries, and they monitor changes in 6 areas, which are economics, psychology, technology, talent, social sphere, and geopolitics.
Yeah.
And just recently in 2023, the biggest disruptor turns to be technology. But yeah, before it was talent. What I'm trying to say, it's always changing. So in current situation, we really need to take a look at the technology problem, really respond to the generative AI and present the idea of the automation and hyper automation to the company. But next year, it may be something else.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What aspects are you looking at in finance transformation? So it sounds like you're looking at technology inside of a company and like within a company. So you've got all these inputs, but inside of a company, what are the different departments or disciplines that are really you're looking at or that are involved when you're building up a finance transformation project?
Given we are in finance transformation, we definitely concentrate on finance, which cannot be, you're right, it cannot be isolated from the rest of the company. That is why we definitely work across silos whenever it's really, we work a lot with IT, we work with HR, we work with procurement, we work with sales, like in predictions, for example, right now. It's really across all the organization, but we really concentrate on finance. And sometimes we even try to narrow ourselves because it's really a great trend to go really into the overall company transformation, but we just try to keep ourselves within the scope. It's a challenge, but
Yeah.
we try to.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet. So, what are some signs that a company needs to go through this type of transformation and why? If you're looking at a company or if you're in a company, how would you know, okay, actually, we need to do transformation?
It's a little bit broader question because when you ask that question, it sounds like you think of transformation like a project.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Back to the all these changes, I realize the fact that some people probably can expect that ecology and economy will balance itself and wars will stop themselves. And turns out that generative AI is not so big disruptor for the business. Well, I can say good luck with your belief in this case.
Yeah.
My belief is that human beings just passed the no return point, and we need to be ready for the changes going forward with actually accelerated rate. And that is why I don't consider finance transformation as a project like it was
Yep.
like with reorganizations or restructure. It's a
Yeah.
project, but finance transformation is really an ongoing process. So with that being said, there is no really limits for the time. It's just always you got a new scope every year.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. But some companies definitely don't have, they have a finance team, but they're not thinking about finance transformation. Size of company, maybe? Is there something else that would indicate, okay, we actually need to institute this as a discipline? And yes, it'll be ongoing, not just a project. But a company that doesn't have it moving to a company that would need it. Are there any kind of signs or signals there?
It's multiple reasons that company can have or not having finance transformation. I would say that these days finance transformation is really comes from external factors.
Mm.
We got lots of changes happening in the world, which impact particular companies and industries in general, different industries. And some internal factors also can come in play to the degree that you are just probably not efficient because of external factors again. So, for example, if we have the technology as a disruptor for the business right now, there's just generative AI. How generative AI is different from AI, by the way? We used to have AI for a decade, probably, right, in place. And
Yeah.
this year, generative AI just boost the all that
The way I
things.
think, yeah,
People
the way I
start
think of,
saying, "Okay, now we need change."
yeah,
Why?
yeah,
Because generative AI literally changes the way we work.
yep,
If you follow that trend, you probably will have competitive advantage. If you don't, you probably lose it. So that is one of the reason you need to change. Again, if you see so many factors changing outside your company, it's probably the time to look inside your company and make those changes. One of the thing which is definitely on the on the table right now, because of the technology, we have to think about the automation. Many companies haven't done that. Many companies did, but right now we even get into the higher level of automation, which is called and framed by Gartner, for example, as hyper automation. Is previously we were speaking about the automation of the selected processes. Right now we are talking about the automation as an orchestration of multiple processes across all organizations.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Cool. So, how about from an outcome perspective? So, what can companies expect as outcomes from either starting a finance transformation discipline or, yeah, I guess starting a finance transformation discipline? I'm not doing it today. All right, I'm going to do this. What can I expect and maybe when?
Any process, especially in finance, is really related to the efficiency. So you do need to prove the extra value for the certain action. That is why your question is absolutely relevant. In terms of a finance transformation, you look at the better efficiency. And it's interesting because even if we look at the KPIs, for example, you do have KPIs as a measure for the efficiency. And you probably have similar for finance transformation as well, because you take process and you take process before some changes and after changes, compare it, and you see the value. But in some cases for finance transformation, you sometimes improve the KPI itself. So you get some sort of a derivative. You have a second degree KPI. You have KPI on the top of another KPI, which is probably specific for finance transformation. But generally speaking, it's just really making it cheaper, quicker. And actually, in terms of cheaper and quicker, I would say that the focus right now is really on quicker. Because if you think about the main idea of financial planning analysis, for example, it's bringing decision-making support. And if you bring the information like 2 weeks later, it got obsolete. It's probably not valuable at all. If you can bring it really quickly, that is the value. Sometimes difficult to estimate it, the value, but you actually can, and you can, it's priceless.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So in terms of what a team might look like for finance transformation, so everybody already has an existing finance team. Is it more a discipline and a change in the way that team is gonna work? Or like you're a director of finance transformation, so you have a specific title in it. Do you need somebody with that title to lead it? Or yeah, does it take new types of resources than maybe a normal finance team would have?
And again, the field is relatively new and it's still shaping. It's different in different companies and it's framed differently. I would say the finance transformation traditionally is really a very lean team. Sometimes it's just one, sometimes it's a couple people. And those people and the scope of what finance transformation is doing, they definitely participate in different changes. But their major is really to catch the trend and build a vision,
Okay.
really indicate, and then probably just you really very high level supervise the changes. But changes needs to be done within the particular function if you got the optimization of something. Because people don't
Yeah.
like changes usually,
Right.
right? Unless they do them themselves. So it's critical to involve them.
Yeah.
In terms of set of skills, again, we have talked about that already, but I would say that you just need people who got probably broader view, who got the understanding of the business for sure, and who got the skills within the, I would say, the area you got changes coming from. Why I'm saying that I probably can bring the most value right now, because I'm naturally very curious in technology, and I definitely have a understanding of the business and I have financial planning analysis experience. So that combination, I think, make me good to work in this field.
Yeah. That makes sense. How do you stay, or how would somebody stay, I guess, knowledgeable or on the forefront of this field? So let's say you get into it, you're like, okay, I'm in a finance transformation role now. Are there journals to read, newsletters, people to follow? Like, who's leading the definition and standard operating procedures of finance transformation?
I was in the situation when I took the completely new position for me a couple times in my career. I always rely on people inside. It's always somebody who knows something and somebody who can and will help you. With finance transformation, since it's a new field, it's tough to find
Yeah.
a person who really knows everything on that. But it's really, we're really blessed finding the good experts on that. We use Gartner,
Okay.
and Gartner is really bring huge expertise. They are really experts on finance transformation in particular, other areas as well. But in particular, they got their really good tools, really good foundation, and really good experts who helps us. So we work closer with them. So it's a
Cool.
bit of education for myself as well at that
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah. 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 It's an interesting, if it's just 3 years old field, there's got to just be a lot of transformation going on inside of finance transformation at the same
Right.
time. Yeah. Cool. So let's talk about some tips and tricks, or let's start with pitfalls. As you're moving through financial transformation, what are some things that could cause you to either go in the wrong direction, or an obstacle to the project, or I know it's not a project, an obstacle to the discipline itself? And then, like, how can maybe some of those be avoided?
I would say that you probably, first of all, if you have the vision, if you don't have a vision, it's the wrong way to go for sure. But once you
A vision
have,
for your company, or a vision for the
no,
finance
vision for the
transformation?
transformation,
Okay. Yeah.
because you definitely need to, again, catch the trend correctly, see the future, see where you are basically right now, your finance organization, and where that financial organization should be in years, and bring all the changes and plan all the changes. But bringing the changes into the organization, that is a huge effort. Firstly, as I said, people don't like changes, and there are multiple reasons for that. Secondly, you need to bring changes in combination, because if you make a restructure of the company, it can be easily put into the one project. You can really put it in one map. With finance transformation, you get multiple projects running simultaneously, and it's really difficult to really synchronize and balance all of them. And the error and mistake that you can do, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, the opportunity for the mistake here, because you need to bring it correctly to the top. You need to get stakeholder at the top.
Yep.
You need, in majority of the cases, in vast majority of the cases, you need to bring all these changes from the top. And on another hand, you need to involve people who will be executing these changes. And that is a bunch of all those dealing with people stuff. So I would say that, I don't know, Jason, it's actually really, it's opportunity for mistakes everywhere here.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
easy
I would
to think,
imagine, like, one thing might be, if you don't have success metrics defined for at least part of this, like how we're going to start it, what we expect from finance transformation, then it's like going on a journey without a map. So if we don't at the beginning of it say, these are the things we're trying to move, these are the things we're trying to ultimately change, and we're going to get there through financial transformation. Here's what we're going to do this year. Then we're going to continue to make efforts or change the direction of it in coming years, because it's an ongoing thing. But I'd imagine that'd have to be one of them. So if you don't set these kind of KPIs up front, that would make it more challenging, right?
I would say that definitely multiple years map needs to be created, because you always think like 3 to 5 years, always.
Okay.
Secondly, it's a challenging with KPIs, because if you have 3 to 5 years map, it's not necessarily that you will not bring something next year to the map, and that will screw your KPIs.
Yeah.
KPIs will be
A new
changing.
mountain pops up
Absolutely.
right in your way.
Absolutely. So everything is agile. So traditional KPIs probably not working here, really,
Yeah.
if you think
Yeah.
about it. Because again, it's not just a project; it's a family of projects, and you always get a newborn in that family. It's really coming. And another thing, it's just throwing another idea on the complexity. Just imagine yourself that you're a mechanical who just fixing the car. You look under the hood, you just look at the ignition system, change some ignition cores probably, or just injectors, or just notice that time belt needs to be replace that. Now imagine that you need to do that with your vehicle running on the highway.
Yeah.
That's what we have, because we have to do that on the go. We cannot just stop the procedure saying accountants not to do anything for 2 months because we need to replace the software.
Yeah.
It's another challenge, and it's probably the most important challenge.
Yeah. So because of that, does that mean that do companies often use consultancies and agencies to come in and help them with this? Because we got to keep everything going. We might not want to staff up an entire, maybe we want a finance transformation head and a couple people, but we really need some bodies to help us get through this initial maybe audit or plan. Or is there room for like agencies, consultancies in this?
Traditionally, consultants' usual way
Okay.
companies do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were even overwhelming on that.
Mm.
There are two reasons for that. Firstly, I would say that we probably even have expertise in our organizations. And sometimes they even probably potentially can do job even better than external consultants.
Hmm.
But top management usually trusts more to external consultants and ready to pay even 10 times more
Yeah. Yeah.
for the job. Another thing is that external consultants help with hours. Because if we are talking about finance, they're usually pretty busy, especially if you have heavily manual processes and nothing automated or just few items. They are busy. And not just they're busy that they don't have enough hours in the day, they just don't think about many things. And in this case, yes, you need to bring consultants. And that is why that traditional way is still in place.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Are there any tools, technologies, templates, frameworks that are available today that can help guide these types of projects? Is there like a specific type of software or, yeah, I guess frameworks or templates, anything like that's available?
There are frameworks, multiple frameworks provided by Gartner.
Mhm.
It really depends on the, I would say that when we're talking about the frameworks and templates in finance transformation, first thing that comes to my mind is the evaluations, because you need to really understand what is your weakness, what you need to work on, and how to prioritize.
Yeah.
Here, Gartner provides multiple very good evaluation tools. When you can run, for example, surveys across the company, and you can do that with, again, Gartner's online tool. You can share the links and people can go through surveys. You can collect all that information and get the picture. You got the prioritization tools as well. The rest, it's really the initial stage. When you get into the particular area which you need to optimize, there are lots of traditional and non-traditional tools here, depending on the field, depending on the area.
Yeah. Okay. So there is some help for people from a technology and process standpoint, it sounds like.
Sure.
Yeah. Not starting from scratch. Okay. Cool. What do you have like your top 3 tips for people that might be embarking on a new either coming into finance transformation, they're already in it, but now they're trying to figure out how to do it better? Any tips you have from your experience specifically that might help people either avoid something or do it better?
Yeah, I would say number one is to be open externally, really curious about everything, and monitor those trends. In this case, it's really useful to identify areas you will be monitoring. And you can come with, I don't know, with Accenture 6 areas they have for the Pulse of Change Index, or just PASTLE, which is political, economical, etc.,
Mm.
or any other set. You need to be consistent here, because if you define it, you can continue watching those areas. So you need to be open externally. You need to be open internally as well, and listen to the people as well, and see all the really to comprehend the internal situation. And finally, you need to be a human yourself, in terms of be able to put yourself into into the shoes of other people. So all three, I would say, give you the initial
Hmm.
I don't want to say skills. It's really that will frame your personality for the finance transformation.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's those are three things that you normally wouldn't hear in terms of finance is be open externally, internally, be open yourself. Yeah, those aren't usually finance is a pretty hard, it's right or wrong. The math is there or not. And so it sounds like it makes this interesting is, and what I think is makes this interesting is the way you've talked about really listening to these external factors. And it can be almost anything. Like you even mentioned climate at one point, but I think it all depends on what your business is, of course. But I think that, and that's, I think, going to get people to the best possible outcome is like, all right, I'm going to be open to maybe historically, I would have never thought this could have an effect on my business, but I'm going to be open to the fact that maybe it does. Um,
Jason, actually, don't you probably don't know yourself how you write, because one of the challenge. Just think about that. We can speak about transformation in different areas of the business, like data transformation or digital transformation, or just reorganization of any kind. But when we are talking about finance transformation, that is the area. Think of accountants. They always were awarded for being conservative.
yeah.
All their history. And now we want them to transform.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really challenging
Yeah.
to move. It's the most conservative function, and you need
Yep.
to work with people
Hmm.
moving.
Well, I love that though too, because I've been in business for 25 years, and yeah, you get this. You basically assign a personality, right, to the accountants or the people in the finance department. But even in my experience lately in startups, they are more open. You're able to have a broader conversation with them than maybe I was 20 years ago, where it was just like, this is what the numbers say. And then especially in marketing, what I do, it used to be that the finance folks just wanted every dollar I spent to be able to track it back to exactly what the ROI was. But marketing is more about getting into the minds and the hearts of people, and you can't
Right.
always measure that. And I think some of the best finance leaders are ones that can understand that and recognize that, still want to know, like, all right, what's the closest we can get to be able to measure this kind of thing? But I'm not going to require it for every single thing. And so, yeah, I think that openness, is interesting and something that I think probably in the future, the best finance people will be people that can stick in the operations and the data, but also can really think externally to that, which goes against, I think, the historical personality type of an accountant or somebody in finance.
I agree.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Andre, that's really what I've got for today. I really wanted to thank you for doing this with me. And any final words of advice, or have you given me all of it already?
Yeah, I would say it's probably
Yeah.
it as well.
Cool. Cool.
And appreciate the conversation, and thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.